Well, here we are. We're going to look at an example document, show you some of the techniques you can use to swap out images. So we've got a standard HTML5 doc type up here. In the head of your document, you have a title, style sheet that's been linked, a script, external script file that's been linked. Down here in the body, we have an H1 tag to identify the page, to search engines for search engine optimization. We have 3 divs, and I will show you what these look like here in just a moment. There's a picture in each, there's a couple of paragraphs in each, and then kind of a little footer down at the bottom. Let's see what this looks like. So I'm going to preview it in Firefox. There we go. My Firebug is open down here at the bottom. And if you look, we have the 3 divs. They've been styled. They've got pictures, and there's the H1 there at the top. And if you notice, when I roll over the picture of Lucky, it changes from black and white to color. Kind of cool. It gives the user a sense of place and also creates interest. Let's look at the style sheet that creates all this visual candy, this eye candy here. So let me go back to Dreamweaver. You can use whatever editor you want. Look at the CSS. At the beginning of it, I've reset some of the block level elements so that margin, border, and padding are 0. Given a little padding in the background to the body as well as assigned a font family. Done several different interesting treatments, visual treatments to the gallery class, which is what our divs are. The gallery images I've given some additional styling to. Notice I've floated all the images left in their divs, in their blocks, and that's and given them a margin right of 20 pixels so that the text is offset a little bit. One of the things that I did that is probably maybe a little bit not covered in your HTML class is in the gallery divs. As each div is started, I've cleared the floats by using the property overflow auto. Overflow auto is one of its side effects is it clears all the floats. So if I've floated my image in my gallery, then I want to clear that float in case anything coming after it I don't want it to float. Given a box shadow property, notice RGBA is the color space. RGBA doesn't work with older versions of Internet Explorer, but we're using Firefox, and if you're on Windows 7 with IE9, it should work fine. Maximum width, I said, a minimum height, and basically just a bunch of styling on the rest of the document. Nothing really out of the ordinary. The only tricky thing I did was I cleared the floats with overflow auto, and I put a box shadow using RGBA. In case you're not familiar with RGBA, it's a newer color space in the CSS3 specification. A is for alpha, A is a transparency channel, and I used a value of 0.4 so that the shadow would be semi-transparent and you could see a little bit of the background coming through. 1 would be solid, 0 would be totally transparent. So 0.4 somewhere in the middle. So there you go. There's the CSS. Let's take a peek back at the document in Firefox. Again, here's my gallery div, this box. There's 3 divs that have got a class of gallery. I floated my images left and did a few other things that are pretty standard things. Let's take a peek at this document. There's no JavaScript in it whatsoever. But let's take a peek and see what's going on here. If in the lower right you don't have this box in Firefox, in Firebug, there's a little bitty arrow in the lower right hand corner that collapses or expands our editor, our JavaScript editor. Make sure you've got Firebug installed, you've got it active. You should be able to click on it in the icon in the upper right. And in the lower right, like I said, make sure your command line editor is showing and we'll type in some code, and then we can click the little run button down at the bottom, and it will run our code. Very, very cool way of playing around with either your pages or someone else's. Be a little mischievous because it doesn't hurt anything. So let's look at this document.images and see what is going on. I typed in document.images, hit run, and wow, over here in the console.log, I've got a list of the images. I have 3 images. Awesome. If I say document.images and let's say 0, that'll be the first one, and hit run, it will show me the first image and all the attributes that go with it. Awesome. Notice that document.images by itself gives me a list of the images in a document, and if I specify a specific one, then it gives me its attributes. So let's type in, I'm going to clear everything. Let's type in document.images.length and hit run. And there we go. It shows documents.images.length and a value of 3, which is what you would expect. So we could say document.images, and that would return all of them as a list. And we could call out one document.images, and in square brackets I will put in quotes lucky, because that should be the first one. And there we go with attributes of lucky. So interesting that you can play around with the document, see what's going on in your console editor there.